The morning sun streamed through the tall windows of the old university classroom. Dust floated lazily in the golden light as students chatted softly, waiting for Professor Daniel to begin his lecture. He entered the room silently, carrying nothing but a large glass jar and a few items in a small bag. No books, no laptop, just those simple things. Everyone fell quiet as he placed the jar on the table. Without a word, Daniel reached into the bag and pulled out a few large stones. One by one, he placed them carefully inside the jar until it was full. Then he looked up at his class and asked, "Is the jar full?" A few students nodded. "Yes, Professor," someone said. "It looks full." Daniel smiled. Then he reached into the bag again and pulled out a box of small pebbles. Gently, he poured them into the jar. The pebbles rolled between the spaces left by the large stones, filling the gaps. He asked again, "Now, is the jar full?" The students laughed. "Probably not, sir," one replied, catching on. Daniel nodded approvingly. He reached into the bag once more and brought out a handful of sand. Slowly, he poured it into the jar. The sand filled every remaining space between the stones and pebbles. The students watched silently, now curious about what he was trying to say. Daniel looked up, eyes calm and voice steady. "This jar," he said, "is your life. The large stones are the most important things. Your family, your health, your dreams, your peace of mind. If everything else was lost, but these remained, your life would still be full." He pointed at the pebbles. "These are your other priorities, your job, your house, your hobbies. They matter, but not as much as the big stones." Finally, he ran his fingers over the sand. "And this, the sand, is the small stuff. The distractions. The things that take your time but don't really add value." He paused, letting his words sink in. "If you put the sand in first," he said softly, "there's no room left for the big stones." The class was completely silent now. The weight of the lesson filled the room more than any lecture could. Then, with a playful smile, Daniel took out a cup of coffee and poured it into the jar. The students laughed as the coffee soaked through the sand, disappearing into the small gaps. Daniel smiled back. "This," he said, "is to remind you that no matter how full your life seems, there's always room for a cup of coffee with a friend." The class erupted in laughter, not just because it was funny, but because it felt real. It felt like life. As the students left the room that day, they carried more than just notes in their hands. They carried a thought, a reminder to reorder their priorities before life filled up with the noise of the unnecessary. Because most people fill their lives with sand first, endless scrolling, meaningless tasks, temporary pleasures, and then wonder why there's no room left for what truly matters. But the wise ones, they start with their big stones.